People always talk about the peace of the forest. How quiet it is, how grounding, how pure. But the truth is, forests are never silent. There's always something breathing, crawling, rustling, watching. We just comfort ourselves into pretending it's all harmless. I didn't understand that until the last camping trip I ever agreed to. It was me, my best friend Lara, and two close friends from work, Dylan and Marco. We'd all been camping before, but mostly in national parks or semi-touristy mountains. This time was different. This time, Lara insisted we try a real forest, a rural one. Far from everything, a place barely on the maps, a place locals simply called Nightwood. We joked about the name on the drive there, but the moment we stepped out of the car, something felt off. The air was colder than it should have been. The trees were tall, too tall, unnaturally skinny, reaching upward like bone fingers. Their bark was the color of dried ash, and their branches twisted in shapes that looked almost deliberate. But we ignored it. We always ignored the first signs. We started unpacking around noon. The clearing we chose was surrounded by thick bushes, with only a narrow path leading back to the dirt road. The sun filtered through the high canopy in thin strips, like shards of pale gold. "Feels like a painting," Lara said, stretching her arms. She was the outdoors girl, confident, calm, and always the first to suggest we push deeper into nature. Her brown ponytail swung as she moved, and her smile made the wilderness seem harmless. Dylan, on the other hand, was already setting up the tent with military precision. His voice was always steady, but his eyes revealed the careful worry of someone who double-checks everything. Marco had the snacks. That was his personality trait. Snacks. We started pitching our tents, and for the first hour, everything was normal. Then, the first strange thing happened. I was tying down one of the tent skylines when Lara suddenly froze beside me. She was staring into the trees, her posture too still, too focused, like she was trying to listen to something far away. "Do you hear that?" I paused, frowning. "Hear what?" She didn't look at me, only deeper into the forest. Her eyes narrowed. "Breathing." My skin prickled. I stood up slowly, glancing around. All I heard were leaves, far-off birds, and the faint hiss of wind. It's probably the trees. Wind funnels weirdly between them. Finally, she exhaled and shook her head as if shaking off a spell. Yeah, maybe. But I watched her over the next few minutes. She kept glancing back at the tree line, as if expecting something to step out. At the time, I thought she was being dramatic. I wish she had been. We built a small fire ring, gathered dry branches, and prepared for cooking later. By late afternoon, we were laughing, cooking instant noodles, and roasting marshmallows way too early, like children. It felt almost normal. Until I went to fetch more water from the stream we saw earlier, just a short walk away. Dylan insisted on coming with me. Marco stayed behind, complaining his legs hurt, while Lara sat sketching a tree in her notebook. When we reached the tiny stream, Dylan kneeled with the water filter, but he kept looking around nervously. I nudged him. "Relax, you look like something's about to jump out." He shot me a tense look. "Doesn't it feel wrong here?" I chuckled. "Don't start with Lara's thing. There's nothing breathing out there except us." He didn't laugh. "No, really, the trees. They're too quiet. Even the birds stopped." I tilted my head. He was right. There were no birds now, no insects, no rustling, just the slow, hollow sound of the stream and something else underneath, like a deep hum buried in the ground. But I didn't want to scare myself, so I brushed it off. "Maybe it's the time of day?" Dylan didn't respond. He just filled the bottles quickly. When we returned to camp, the smell hit us first. A faint, sour, metallic scent, like rusted iron or something dead rotting under leaves. Marco sat near the fire, pinching his nose. Something smells terrible. Did an animal die around here? Lara looked up from her sketchbook, frowning. I've been smelling it too. It came and went. But when Marco suggested checking the surrounding trees for a carcass, Dylan shook his head. No one wanders alone beyond the clearing. Don't. Lara raised an eyebrow. Why not? He hesitated. I swear I felt someone watching us earlier. It grew quiet. We all looked at one another. Then a faint, distant sound came from the forest, a rhythmic tapping. Slow, measured, like someone knocking on wood. Tap, tap, tap. Marco shivered. A bird? But no bird tapped like that. No animal made that steady pattern. Still, no one wanted to say what we all silently wondered. We tried to move on with the evening, but the mood never fully recovered. The tapping never came closer, but it happened again and again, at irregular intervals, like a reminder that we were not alone. After dinner, Lara went to brush her teeth near the bushes while the rest of us packed things away. The fire crackled, warming the chilly air. Suddenly, she called out, not loud, just enough for us to hear. Guys, can you come here a sec? Her tone wasn't fear, not yet, just confusion. I jogged over, Dylan right behind me. She pointed her flashlight downward. There was a set of footprints in the soft dirt, except they weren't ours. We'd been careful earlier, and these prints were fresh, bare footprints. Long, narrow, deep at the toes, as if whoever made them leaned forward unnaturally. Dylan's voice trembled. Someone was walking barefoot? Here? Lara shook her head slowly. No, look. She traced with her light. The footprints didn't come from anywhere. They didn't go anywhere. They just appeared. Half a dozen prints circling around her bag before abruptly stopping, as if someone had stood there watching her. Marco joined us a moment later, his face paling. That's not. What the hell? No one spoke for several seconds. The forest felt heavier. The trees seemed to lean in. Finally, Dylan straightened and spoke firmly. We stay close to the fire. No one goes anywhere alone. We all agreed, but that didn't save us. Not from what came later. Night fell fast, too fast. By 8 p.m., the forest was nearly pitch black. The fire gave us a circle of light, but the darkness beyond felt impenetrable, like the trees themselves swallowed the glow. We sat close together, listening to the fire crack and pop. Try as we might, none of us could relax. Marco broke the silence first. Do you guys feel like the trees are different at night? Lara hugged her knees. They look taller, thinner, like they're stretching. Dylan rubbed his temples. Stop, we're scaring ourselves. But even he kept glancing toward the dark. Then, sometime after 10 p.m., the sound came again. Tap, tap, tap. Except now it wasn't distant. It was close, just beyond the tree line. We froze. The tapping stopped. A long silence followed. Then a new sound, a slow exhale, deep, hollow, wet, as if someone stood just outside the firelight, breathing through a narrow mouth. Who's there? Marco called out. The breathing stopped abruptly. Silence. We waited. 5 seconds. 10. 20. Nothing. Then, a voice, right behind us. Are you cold? We all spun around, shouting, stumbling, but no one was there. No footprints in the dirt, no rustling bushes, no movement. Just the forest, impossibly still. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped my flashlight. Lara's voice quivered. "We need to leave, now!" Marco nodded furiously, but Dylan hesitated. "It's too dark. If we move now, someone could get lost. We stay till morning." None of us wanted to, but deep down, we agreed. Leaving in pitch-black woods was suicide. So we built the fire higher, gathered closer, and the forest watched. We didn't know how it watched, or what exactly was watching from the trees. Not yet, but we would. And one of us would hear it before dawn. The thing that would change everything. The thing that would follow us. The thing that would whisper again.